Eric Cole burst on the scene in a huge way last year. There was that playoff loss at the Honda against Chris Kirk, which was still one of my favorite events of the entire year. Then he had a couple of top tens before the incredible stretch at the end of the year. Ready for it? Fourth at the Fortinet, third at the Shriners, runner-up the Zozo. He ended the year at RSM Classic, third place there. It all culminated when he won the Arnold Palmer Award. That's for the PGA Tour Rookie of the Year honor. I'm sure all of this, no doubt, changed Eric's life. Pretty safe to say he's here to stay. His swing is beautiful. His numbers so far this season show no sophomore slump yet. 6 top 25s, 29th in the FedEx Cup standings, 38th in the official World Golf ranking. Pumped to have him join us, especially since we'll be doing some pretty cool stuff in the second segment here today. We want to get a little geeky on equipment with him. Eric, what's going on, man? How you been?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. You just saw on the return that you're getting from us, but the world saw on their television screens an invitation from the Masters. I mean, where's your head at right now? Are you just like crazy excited about everything going on in your world?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's been a crazy last, I don't know, year and a half or so. But yeah, I mean, to get that Masters invite over the, Christmas break was pretty special, and it's kind of a little bit hard to believe. But the fact that I'm going there in 5 days or whatever is pretty cool, and I'm excited. I know my wife and family are excited to be there too, so it's going to be an awesome week.
We have a picture of you proposing to her at Pebble Beach, and then we put it side by side with a wedding photo. I guess the quick question is, now if your wife is watching, we're gonna say that she's the reason. But what is the reason? What changed in the world of Eric Cole, where all of a sudden the guy that won a zillion times on his way up to the PGA Tour found himself on the PGA Tour at 35 years old, and you're lighting the world on fire?
Yeah, I'm not sure the answer to that question. I get it a lot, but I'd say one of the biggest things is I didn't change a whole lot. I just kind of kept with what I was trying to do and kept trying to improve. And I think it happens differently for different people. And for me, for whatever reason, it took a lot longer. And, it's something that's almost made it a little bit sweeter to take the long road and finally be here now.
And the fact that you are a son of legends, how much did that give you on both sides, I suppose? One is you're trying to come out from a shadow, and two is you're getting advice from the best of the best that have actually been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. How much did you find balance in all of that in order to become who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of the negatives that maybe people think. I mean, my parents were both very supportive, and, I didn't feel like I was, in their shadow at all, really. I don't know if maybe I was different than other people who've had successful families in golf, but for me, it just felt like a lot of positives to be around golf a lot when I was young and see how cool it was, and kind of, inspire me to want to do that when, I became an adult and had a chance to turn pro and try and play. So it was mostly positives for me.
How much do you have to be, Eric, careful with what you consume? Well, I don't even know if you drink alcohol, but how much you have to be careful with what you put into your body, food or beverage or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so, I have to monitor my sugar and have to be very careful with what I'm eating. I wouldn't say I'm the healthiest person in the world, but I make sure that what I'm putting in my body is, for the most part, pretty good stuff, and try not to get my sugars too high for sure. So
can you, if you wanted to, have a beer or something?
Yeah. I can drink a little bit. If I do drink, it's typically like something that doesn't have a lot of carbs or sugar in it. So
you're like a
don't
whiskey
drink a
guy.
ton of beer. But yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
I like where you're going. All right, so here's a question I got for you to that. You walk into the store, whatever it is, ABC Liquors where you live or whatever, right? And you're going to buy that bottle of whiskey or a tequila or something. You've got your PXG hat on, dressed like you are right now. Do you get asked to show ID every single time?
Yeah, I'd say a lot. Yeah, I get asked ID a decent amount. Probably not as much as well, I don't know. I get asked a decent amount, so maybe I look a little young. I'm not sure.
A little young. Yeah, I think you do. It's absolutely awesome. All of it is very, very impressive. Now, I also saw where you were quoted as talking about your dad, Bobby, that he's the helped you develop the golf swing that you have now. Your golf swing is so beautiful and it is so in balance. Could you kind of talk to us about the advice that he gave you over the years about trusting your swing and how you developed who and what you are right now as that player?
Yeah, sure. My dad is a little more on the technical side of things than my mom is, golf swing wise. So he was really big on fundamentals, so setting up well, correctly, grip, alignment, more of the position side of the swing. So, I kind of got a lot of that guidance when I was young, and I think when you start from a good spot, and this is definitely his opinion, if you start from a good spot with those fundamentals, even if you have a few little idiosyncrasies or uniqueness to your swing's still going to be within a certain, it's going to be somewhat fundamentally sound if you start from a good spot. So I think that was a huge thing for me at a young age, is to get that guidance as to, this is what you should be doing. This is how you should be doing. It's pretty objective. And then from there, you can kind of swing your swing and, have the feel of, your game. But if you start from a good spot, then it's a lot of times it's hard to get too far, you know, out of sequence or out of alignment with what you're doing.
The fact that you are as down to earth as you are is incredible in contrast to the fact that you've lived your life around legends. Could you talk to us about the fact that you had an opportunity? You're still only 35 years old, and here we are talking about that you played golf with and you knew Arnold Palmer through Sam, and I know that you know Mr. Nicklaus as well. It's just it's kind of mind-blowing to me. And then you become the Arnold Palmer Award recipient as the Rookie of the Year. All of that is an incredible circle.
Yeah, no, the winning Rookie of the Year, having it being named Arnold Palmer Award, is just something that's hard to put into words, because I was very lucky at a young age when I was in high school to spend a lot of time around Mr. Palmer through Sam Saunders and his family. So yeah, it was really special at the time. I knew it. I think some of my favorite memories with him were not really golf course stuff, just more sitting around the locker room, hearing him tell stories. And I remember watching him regrip clubs was something that was just unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, I was very lucky, and, to have it come full circle and win an award named after him is just such a huge honor, and I'm very proud of it.
How about other legends you've bumped into? I mentioned Jack Nicklaus is one, but just either through your mom or through your dad, the fact that you kind of grew up around the game of golf, where, I know the stories that you guys would go on site and your mom would put you in like the daycare, and you guys with your family, what was six, I believe, right? You would fill it up.
Yeah, no, I was actually really lucky when we would travel around with my mom. I'm the second oldest in my family, so everyone else would kind of be in daycare. I was in daycare a little bit too, but when there got to a point where everyone else was in daycare and I was got to go walk around with my mom and watch her play, so I was kind of like felt a little bit special. So that was one of the things that really got me into golf, is just walking out there by myself and watching her and watching the fans interact with her, and seeing how much fun she was having out there. So that was a big impact and influence on me wanting to play professional golf.
I just want to circle back around to something that you had mentioned, a couple of things actually, but one of them was where you talked about how it took you more time, to use your phrase. Do you think that steel was hardened by fire in those years, that when you were out and you were winning all of these mini tour events, that by the time that you got to the PGA Tour, you knew you had air in your lungs, you knew that you could survive in situations like Lee Trevino would say when you're putting for $5 and you don't have that in your pocket? Is that the way you felt, that when you got there, you're like, I kind of feel like I'm playing with house money?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit. I'd say for me, uh, it was just so much harder. I felt like it was so much harder to get to the PGA Tour than to just stick with what got you there and not change your game at all, which is something you see with maybe some younger players, some younger rookies, is they haven't spent as much time kind of learning their game, and then they get to the PGA Tour and they see what all these great players can do, and they try and either change their game or try and do some new coach or something. So I think I was a little bit lucky in the fact that it took me so long and I spent so much time around older players who know kind of what it takes, that getting there a lot of times is a lot harder than playing well if you just stick on tour, if you just stick to what got you there.
Eric, did your views change as a guy that was trying to scrape and claw his way up the ladders of the game to now being an elite player, given where the game is at, that, there's signature events now, there's a lot of stuff that reward a player at your level versus a guy that was on the outside trying to get in? Have your views modified in any way on that and where the game is at right now on the PGA Tour?
I don't really know how much of a opinion I have on it. I think the idea of getting all the players together in the big events is awesome, but you do want to protect the story of the underdog, kind of like the Honda Now Cognizant for me a while back. That was a really cool thing. I'd never been in contention before. All of a sudden, I am, and I think it's a balancing act, and I'm nowhere near smart enough to know where it's going to end up. But I think the idea that they're trying to do these signature events, and I think they've gone really well so far, I think is a positive thing, and the ability to try stuff is always a good thing.
All right, so Eric, before we jump into the equipment stuff, which I'm dying to do with you, let's pay off the sponsors that you have so that we can say thank you to all of them. Talk to us about who you have aligned yourself with, please.
Yeah, sure. PXG is a club sponsor. I got some partners that I wear their logos of. Blue Tide Office is like a business that helps with other companies starting up businesses, pretty much. Boucher, it's a financial company. And then, that's on the other side. Alpha Advisors is kind of like a data technology efficiency company. So it helps companies be more efficient. So I use Titleist ball shoe glove, and I think that's about it.
Okay, Eric, here we go, brother. Grab that phone. This is live on national television. Take your phone and show me the golf bag, and let's start talking business here. You are on the PGA Tour, 19th on tour in proximity to the hole. From 125 to 150 yards, you are 11th. You are killing it with your scoring clubs. You start where you want to, but I'm dying to know about them.
Yeah, sure. So I used Titleist wedges. I'm also messing around with the PXG wedge right now. It's hard to do. It's like backwards. But I use Titleist wedges, or Vokey wedges, I guess, SM10s, 60, 55, and 50. So, yeah, just pretty standard grinds. I use a T grind on my 60, but yeah, I'll mess around a little bit with different grinds, but try some different stuff out. But yeah, that's pretty much my wedge setup.
That 60-degree wedge that you had with that grind, is that to open up the heel a little bit so you can make it even flatter if you want to pop it straight up in the air?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little bit, there's not much bounce on it, and it's definitely a little bit, I'm not sure what the word is, like, more extreme than maybe some more game forgiveness wedges out there. But it's really nice on tour when you have to stop the ball quick and spin it. So I think a lot of guys use it, and I've used it for a while now.
Love it. Okay, talk to us about what you're doing with your irons. Are you consistent with the irons, or do you have a mixed set?
Yeah, I use all PXG 0317 ST, so it's kind of like one of their smaller blades.
Go right in there, dude.
Nice.
Go right in so we can see a really good shot of them. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So 0317 ST. And then I use the cavity back in the 4-iron. So a little bit bigger 4-iron CB. And that kind of just a little more forgiving, little wider sole on it, so it makes it a little easier to get up in the air if I need to.
Standard lies for you? What shafts?
Yeah, I use standard line loft, and then I use Dynamic Gold X100 mids, they're called. So a little more spin than just a typical Dynamic Gold X100.
And what's that do for your trajectory with those for your apex?
Yeah, the trajectory is pretty. Yeah, apex is a little higher, but it kind of launches similar. So it's just got a little more rise in it, so it wants to land a little bit steeper. So it's got more spin and lands a little steeper. So, that's one big thing from the Corn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour is the greens are much firmer and faster out here. So you gotta stop the ball. And I'm not a real high spin player, so I switched to those probably almost a year ago, and it's been really good since.
And what are you doing with your grips? You have any cord in it?
No, I use the Align grips.
Oh, yeah.
Golf Pride Align. So I like it. I think it's like a little bit of an advantage to have that big rib on the back. You can feel the face a little better. So I've used those for a while now too.
Very cool. Okay, talk to us about what you're doing with your woods.
Yeah, sure. So 5-wood is PXG. I switched to a 5-wood maybe 2 years ago from a 2-iron, and it was a very good decision for me. Again, same thing, just trying to get the ball to land a little softer into some of the greens when you're going for it on par 5. And as long as I have the versatility to still hit it low, I really like it. 3-wood, I use a TaylorMade 3-wood. And then driver, I use the new PXG Black Ops driver.
Let me take a look at that, baby.
Yeah, it's been really good. I like it a lot. It's one that is really cool. It's fast, but you don't lose anything with forgiveness. So I think a lot of the new drivers, like they're built for speed, but then as soon as you get off-center strikes, they come out with low spin and they're not really all that controllable. Versus this has the speed, but it also has that forgiveness in there, which I really like.
Now, if I saw correctly, Eric, it was 9 degrees on this driver.
Yep.
How did you dial it in? What did you do shaft-wise, etc.?
Yeah, so I use a Riptide, even flow Riptide, which has a little more spin than others, but I got my drivers down like I think a half a degree, so it's more like an 8.5. So it's kind of like less loft, but then the shaft still has some spin. So I think that although when you get fitted, sometimes it's fun to max it out and try and get the best window to hit it far. I think for me, I also am trying to have something that's playable too on the course. So while it might not be launching super high with low spin and going as far as I could hit it, sometimes the idea of the ball coming off a little more playable combo of lower launch and a little higher spin feels really good to me. So that's kind of the combo I have set up there.
PXG.com, folks, if you want more information on what Eric is doing or if you want to check out PXG equipment for yourself. Talk to us about your putter, my man.
Yeah, so putter's PXG too. It's called the Bat Attack. I center shafted, so I switched to center shafted. I'm not sure if I can get that in there or not, but I switched to center shafted probably again 2.5 years ago, and been pretty steady with it since. And this one's really nice. It's just something that looks good, feels good, and it's very easy to line up with kind of that back, those two fangs on it and stuff. So it's been good, and something that I'm confident in, and PXG's done a great job of giving me a lot of options and finding something that works really well.
That putter looks like it would be face balanced. Is there any toe hang at all?
No, it's completely face balanced. I've switched around a little bit with trying some other PXG putters that have just that little bit of toe hang that I've used in the past, but this one's completely face balanced.
Cool. We are almost out of time, my man. It was awesome to go through that bag with you. How excited are you about this week? And we've already asked you about the Masters, but I'm going to ask you again because it deserves to. How excited are you about the 2 weeks in front of you?
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. I think this is one of the best weeks we have on tour for just ease. Everyone stays right here on site, and you just walk over to the course. It's a great course, difficult but fair. And then, yeah, the Masters being five or 6 days away is hard to believe, but very excited about it.
Awesome. Eric, thank you so much for spending time with us. We wish you the very, very best. Yes, this week, but also at Augusta National.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
It was good to see you guys.